Hello everyone. So in this lecture we are going to create a blockchain on AWS using the EC2 server. We'll be running an Ubuntu machine and then we'll try to install the multi-chain on it and then we'll try to connect it with the other servers. So we'll start. Okay, so first thing you need to do is you need to have an AWS account. So if you do not have any AWS account, you need to sign up right now. You need to confirm your ID, plus you need to also have a credit card, which need to be added to the AWS account. Or if you already have an AWS account, you just have to log in. So you have to go to aws.log amazon.com. So after the login, it will be showing you some other screen. But if you go to the services and EC2, then this is what you will be seeing. So yeah, so you can check how many EC2 machines you have, and then you can launch your own machine if you want. So I have some machines running already. So I have an old blockchain running on two nodes, so I'm going to ignore them and then we'll launch a fresh blockchain. So one thing that you can do is you can, as I have shown and mentioned in the step 2, that you can either launch your own fresh EC2 server and configure it whatever you want to install in it, right? Or you, if you already have an EC2 machine which has the some key software installed like PHP, Python, Apache, because these documents generally help you, to build the application faster, then you can launch the directly machine, the EC2, using that AMI. So I'm going to launch the 14.04 server, which is the better or the most stable server and the recent Ubuntu server right now we have. Though we also have a choice to launch 16.04, but I would prefer to use 14.04 because one thing is that it has a LTS, lifetime support, plus it is more mature and stable, so the chances that we see bugs are very less in that 14.04. So let me go and launch the AMI. So I'll go to the AMI section. I have some AMIs with me, so I'm going to use this Mahesh AMI. So Mahesh is my brother name, so I'm just going to launch it. So yeah, so we need at least 1 GB RAM. So we will suggest you not to launch the nano and launch at least micro and then go ahead on that. So free account holder will also get a free tier this for 1 year. So you can launch a one micro T2 micro server for 1 year for free. So I'm going to configure the instance details. I leave as it is, whatever the default is. Go with the storage. I'm choosing the 20 GB, which is just a default version. So it's a minimal requirement, so I don't have to go for the expensive one. So I'm going to name it with node 1, right? So I'll go with the configure. So I have the existing security group. So multi-chain node, which has a certain permissions. I'll cover that, what port numbers and other things are required. So of course SSH is always default. You can add HTTP, HTTPS or other TCP rules. So 2750 and other these port numbers, I'll explain why we need them and why it is important. Next you're going to do is review and launch. So before all these things which you've done is there already, so you just click on launch. It will ask you for the key pair. So what we'll do is we'll choose an existing key pair. I have this node 1 key pair already with me, which I have already downloaded, so I'll acknowledge that and I will launch the instance. Right, I'll go to this instance and we'll see. So I need to wait for the public IP to appear so that I can connect using the SSH, right? We need some SSH terminal. We can use either our own Mac command terminal, or we can choose to have a putty or somewhere similar software. There are many softwares are available like Zoc Pro and others. So for Windows, I prefer to use something like Zoc, which will help you opening a multiple tabs easily, unlike putty where many things are very difficult to maintain. So now we have the public IP. So I will copy this IP and will open my uh, notes, because I'm going to have this. Okay, so here we have all the nodes with us. So what we are going to do is we are going to put this IP address here because this is a new IP address, right? And this node 1 is the so this is the exact command that we need to execute. I already have this command in my this documents. So you can learn about the SSH and how it works on the internet if you want. So this is how you are going to ssh hyphen I, then path of the PEM file, and then username Ubuntu at the public IP address, which I already did copy from here, right? So I just copied here. I'll now open the terminal. So I have this terminal in front of me. I'll just try to increase the font and see if it helps. Okay, so I have this some bigger screen now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this command because I believe that my server might be up and running. So I'm going to just going to step 3 by connecting into the SSH. So yeah, it's running. So let me do the SSH. And try to enter. So I already have this, the node1.pem file in my home directory, and the permission of the PEM file must be 400, means it should be only accessible by the user. So it will ask you to confirm the fingerprint, just say yes, and that's it. It will connect to the server, right? So once the SSH is done, we will now move to installing the multi-chain. Right. So after connection, it will show something like this. The IP address might be different. So installing the multi-chain. So yeah, multi-chain is a software, is an open platform. You can install it by actually from the link given by the website, or also that there is a minimal requirement, system requirement of 64-bit Linux or 62-bit Windows operating systems are required. The Ubuntu must be either 12 plus 12.04 or more. Similarly, any Linux-based system will work. So let's check out the terminal. Okay, so now we have this terminal. Let me maximize this terminal so that we can have a separate window. So in this, if we check the current directory, it's an Ubuntu, and we are into the home. And if you check out what are these documents, so there are certain default documents are available in my machine, which might be different in your case. So now I'm going to do is we're going to install it. So to install, we need to follow these steps or the commands. So first thing is we need to type sudo su to switch to the super user. So here we are now the root, right? So we don't have to again and again specify sudo to install the calls. So now next what we'll make sure that we are in the home and Ubuntu's folder, which we are already there, but just for the safety we are just making it. I also mentioned it so that you always stick to that same location. Next is that I'll just try to see if I can, yes, I can connect, copy paste and directly, so that it will be very easy. So I can make dir mkdir. So we are going to create a directory, right, with that name temp. So if you can see, if you do ll, you will be able to see the new temp directory created by the root, right? So next we are going to do is yes, move to this next tmp directory. So we are now inside the tmp. What we are going to do is copy paste this command. This is the recent alpha and the stable version which multi-chain has been availing for everyone to download. So we are going to use the wget command. You can use curl or anything, whatever you want to download the tar file. So we just downloaded tar. It's a very small tar, actually a 5 MB tar. So next thing we are going to do is unzip this command. Unzip this tarball. So here's the command for that. So now the tar has been unzipped. So we will now move to this multi-chain folder we just created. So if you do ll, you see there is a folder now. So yeah, ll is just nothing but just ls-l. Yeah. So now what we'll do is we will move these particular files, which are executable files, to the default user usr/local/bin, so that we can execute these commands or these programs as a command, right? Because since they are in the local bin folder, you don't have to specify the entire path of this file again and again. But if you are willing to specify the entire path, or you want to create your own shortcuts, you can, please go ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these files into the, or mv command stand for moving. We just moved the files. So what you're going to do is we are going to exit from the root user. Now I will switch back to the Ubuntu. As you can see that I am now the Ubuntu user again. So to ensure that we have these commands installed, so we are going to run these commands. I'm going to copy this, right, and paste this, or just type multi-chain D. So if you see this message, it means the multi-chain has been installed, right? If you again install the CLI command, you will see the some similar messages, means it is showing you how to run the command. It means it has been installed properly. So this is about installing the multi-chain. Now we will move to create a blockchain, right, and start mining the Genesis block, which is the first block in the blockchain. So to create a blockchain, you have to use this multi-chain util command with this something like this. So multi-chain -util create chain one. So I'll just create this. So simple. I am right now in the home folder. So if you'll try to list out everything, you will see there is no dot multi-chain folder, right? Now if we create this or execute this command with the chain one, so chain one is the blockchain name. So we have to name the chain. You can create multiple chains if you want in the same network or infrastructure. So I'm going to use chain one as a chain name. So if you enter this, yes, it will show you something like this. The build blockchain parameters set was successfully generated. So this command will actually generate the parameter sets in the home folder, or if you do the ll, then you will see the multi-chain folder has been created. So if we'll go to this dot multi-chain folder and list out everything again, then you'll see, okay, now there is a config folder plus there is a chain one folder. So if you try to see the what is there inside this multi-chain config, there is nothing actually. So it's empty. Right, as you can see, it's a 0 byte. But if you go and try to see what is there in the chain one, so let's go to chain one and see what is there. Okay, so there are two files, right? So let's figure out what is their content before we actually go further, just to make sure that we understand what we are doing. So we created a two entries in the file. One is the RPC user. RPC stands for remote procedure call. So you need to, whenever somebody making a call to your machine, right, using the JSON RPC, that the user must have a JSON RPC username and password. So multi-chain is specifying that is a username and password. So if you try to check the parameter dot this params dot dat file, so we'll do. So this file actually has the entire configuration of the blockchain. Yeah, we just created a configuration file. We haven't initialized anything yet, right? So these are the all files. If you want to check whether the things has been initialized or not, just try to see the Genesis block details. So as you can see, the Genesis block details are null right now. It means that nothing has been done. Genesis block has not been created yet. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a Genesis block, and for that, right, what we need to do is you need to start the multi-chain D as a server. So it's called multi-chain server. So multi-chain D is a daemon which you want to create using the chain one. So I'm going to paste this command as it is, and that's it. So it will show you the message that the daemon has been started, the multi-chain server starting, looking for Genesis block. Genesis block found means it has created a Genesis block, right? And this is the complete address using which the other blocks can actually connect to this server or connect to this node, right? So remember, this machine which we just installed and configured where the blockchain is a node 1, and this is the administrator of the entire blockchain. So we created a first server, right? So what we are going to do next is let's check out the configuration file again, right? So I'll just try to push the up arrow key so that we can go to the history and see this multi-chain config. Okay, so nothing has been changed, same, but let's see the params.dat, right? Okay, so if you go to the end of this section, which were earlier null everywhere, has certain values. So this will show you the details of the Genesis block. Remember, for security reasons, never show this detail to anyone. That's very important. right? I'm showing you because I'm going to terminate this server, so you don't have to, go and think about hacking this blockchain or something like that, because this will not help. I'll terminate this server after the class. So I have all the detailed number of bits, nonce. This is the actually the random number, which called number used only once, which is most important to create a new block. And this is the public key of the new block, and all the details, the block hash and everything is available. So that's it. So we actually, what we did exactly is that after starting this server, we connected to the, we initialized the new block. So Genesis block has been mined. Now we are having the everything up and running. So if you want to check whether things have been done and the blockchain has been initialized, and this server is actually mining its own blockchain which we just initialized without any having any other peer or any other node in the server, in the network. So what you're going to type is multi-chain hyphen CLI hyphen chain 1. So multi-chain CLI is, we are going to use the command line tool, and then you'll type get info. If you enter this line, you will see the complete details, right? So as you can see, this is the version of the server, right? The protocol version, the chain name, the description. This description you can change, of course, anytime. You can also change the detail name or the server chain name, right? This is the port where the chain is running. So we need to allow this connection on this port on this server, right? Because other node will be connected to this node, but on this port. So we need to make sure that JSON RPC port is enabled and connected. So setup blocks, node address, right? Burn address, and there are many things. One more interesting thing is about these blocks. So this is the total number of blocks the blockchain has right now, right? If you will try to re-execute this command, and if you have passed the 15 seconds or more, you will see that the blocks has been increased. So remember, from right now, from this moment onward, this number of blocks will keep increasing, because the blockchain will keep mining the blocks into the blockchain and will keep adding it. So 15 second is a default time for mining a block. You can of course configure it and change it as per your requirements, but this is the default settings we are talking about. So yes, so that's completely shows that your blockchain is up and running. So let's move to the next lecture. If you have any query, please ask. Thank you.